Can I get a big hook 'em horns from everybody out there? not many. Michael's even standing up with his horns down. That's all right. I'm used to that. I can handle it. From all my Oklahoma friends, thank you for inviting Laura and myself to participate in your convention this week. My wife, Laura Radican, is right here with me, and she's glad to be here. So, Oklahoma and Texas being so close together, I feel like I'm home. I'm amongst friends. I'm amongst a bunch of good Southerners, and that's what we like to do. As Laura and I travel across the country, serving in the ALTA presidency, it's different. And as you go around the country, title people are the greatest. Let me tell you, that's one reason I do this, is because title people are some of the greatest people in the world. They're so nice. But they're different in all parts of the country. And that's why we really love down here in the South, giving presentations and talking to people. So we've got a lot of friends in Oklahoma. Mark and Kathy Bilbrey have been dear friends for decades. We kind of went through ALTA together, and I'm so glad to see them here. Mark recently retired, and here he is back at a title convention. So congratulations on your retirement. I don't know, you're probably still working some, but Herschel Beard is dear to us. Herschel and I went through ALTA together for many, many years. I know Sue's here, so glad to see her this week. What a terrific guy Herschel was. I know we all miss him, but he was just such a good friend of ours, and we appreciated him. So into the Kegs breakfast this morning, and I'm now an official Keg. All right, that was great. So I'm third generation ALTA president now. My grandfather and my father were both ALTA presidents. And my grandfather knew Bill Gill. They were very good friends through ALTA. And when my grandfather was president of ALTA, Bill Gill invited him to Oklahoma to come meet his friends and attend the Kegs breakfast. He became an official Keg. My father is also an official Keg. And my grandfather thought it was such a great idea to have the Kegs breakfast and do that, he brought it to Texas. So now we have Texas Kegs, and we do much of the same thing, much of the same traditions in Texas as you do in Oklahoma. So I'm glad to see it still thriving, and I'm glad we could steal it from you, because we're still using it. Well, it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about football. So I am a humongous football fan, and especially college football, and obviously the Texas Longhorns. Now, we have this little rivalry going on with Oklahoma, and I don't want to disregard Oklahoma State, because I know they're a powerful school, and they've got a great school and a great football team also. But I grew up, my whole family are Texas Longhorns, my father, my grandfather, my aunt, my uncle, everybody. My wife Laura is a Longhorn, one of my daughters is a Texas Longhorn, all my family, so we bleed orange. So I grew up going to this football game. And to me, middle of October was, a sacred Saturday, going to Dallas to go to that game, and I know many of you have done it. And for many years, Texas had Oklahoma's number. We beat them a lot until the last decade, when Oklahoma has had our number until last year. So it's fun. I remember so many times going to that stadium, and, it's half orange and half red, and it's just an exciting day. That's what I love about college football, or any team, just going to that is so exciting. There's just one problem with that game in the stadium, is I have to listen to that damn Boomer Sooner. That song just, But I'm sure you Sooner fans have the same problem with Texas fight and the eyes of Texas and all that. I get it. But isn't that what makes it great? Isn't that what makes it great, this rivalry? So I know it. Yeah, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. I can take it from my Oklahoma friends. But Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and thank you for putting up with your fellow Texans from across the state line. We're going to talk about some things today about what's going on around the country, about ALTA, and I want to tell you a little bit more about myself. Our company, Radican Title Company, is based in Fort Worth, Texas, and part of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Thank you. There's about several million people on the Tarrant County side, more people on the Dallas County side. The whole Metroplex is about 8.5 million people. It's a lot. It's a lot of people, it's a lot of traffic, it's a lot. But that's where we grew up and that's where we are. Our company was founded in 1944. We have about 100 employees, probably a few less than that today. After this year, we do both commercial and residential. And the current DFW market, people have been asking me this week, we're the same as what you guys are seeing. In the big cities, the market is suffering, especially the residential market. We had the realtor speaker here yesterday, and what she was talking about is what we're experiencing. Refinances are dead. Residential is slow because of extremely high housing prices still. You know what the interest rates are doing, and people are just saying, I'm just going to wait. If I sell my house now and make a lot of money, I got to go someplace. Where am I going to go? So that's the market that we're seeing, the market you're seeing. That's the market around the country. As we travel and talk to title people, that's where it is everywhere. The good thing for us, we do a lot of commercial. The commercial market is still good, has been really, really good. But I'm starting to see some people saying, well, interest rates are so high that strip center we were going to invest in or do, we're going to put that on hold for a while. So I'm seeing the commercial market come down just a little bit, but that's kind of where we are. And Laura, I need my clicker. I knew I was supposed to be doing something with that. Thank you. Okay, so this is kind of our cover, what we're going to be talking about today, finding opportunities in a changing market. It's a changing market, as you know, and that's me. So my grandfather, who was a good friend of Bill Gill's, Jack Radican Sr., he was an attorney, he was a title man, and I'll tell you how he got there. When he was a young boy, he grew up on a farm in Arkansas. And they had crops, and I don't know what kind of crops, but whatever it was, they had a pretty large farm. And one day when he was about 17, his dream was to go to college. No one in his family had ever been to college before. And he wanted to go to college, and being an Arkansas guy, I don't know why, but he wanted to go to the University of Texas. Okay. One day his father said, Jack, let's take a ride. They went out on the horses, went out to the farm, and he said, they kind of was on a little rise, and he said, I want you to look out. Just look out everywhere. Crops were dead. They'd had a freeze. All of their crops failed. And he said, I know your dream is to go to college at Texas. I can't send you to college. We don't have any money. Our crops failed. If the crops don't grow, we can't sell them. We have no money. I can't send you to Texas. My grandfather was devastated, absolutely devastated, because he wanted to go to college so bad. But his dad said, hang in there. It'll get better. Let's see what happens next year. Well, the next year, the crops were better, but they still didn't have enough money to send him to college. When another year, they had a really good year, and he could go to college. So he went to the University of Texas, got a business degree, and then went on to UT Law School and got a law degree. And it was one of those things, don't ever give up. If you want something, keep going for it. And he did, thank goodness. So I told you he was from Arkansas. So he got to Texas, he started a little law practice, and then he became friends with a guy named Mako Stewart. And Mako Stewart had Stewart Title. And they were friends, and Mako said, hey, Jack, why don't you come to work for me? There's this thing called title insurance. This is in the early 40s. Or the 30s. There's this thing called title insurance, and I think we need to get agents around Texas and do this because Stewart Title had started their company. What's funny is, what were we coming out of to get into title insurance? attorney opinion letters back in the 30s. They didn't have title insurance, so they had attorneys would write opinions. Now we're back to those. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So he went around the state of Texas and helped start title insurance in Texas, and because they didn't have it. And of course now across the country we have title insurance, but he really helped start it in Texas. So there he is as a younger man and older guy. You can see in his old law office there were some a lot of track books and things to see how we used to do title insurance. So coming current, we're going to talk about a few things that interest me as I travel across the country and just kind of make me laugh. So it's kind of hard to read, but this thing on the top, this is a semi-truck, obviously. It says, Honey's Money Maker. And Honey would be the truck driver, and this is how he makes his fortune. And my wife Laura took this picture, and I thought that was pretty funny because it's so the truth. Aspen, Colorado. We were in Aspen, Colorado a few years ago when we were in the airport, and I saw this. Now, this is really before pot was legalized in Colorado, but not legalized in other states. So I saw this and I thought, okay, that's interesting. I guess you put your weed in here before you fly across state lines. I didn't have any weed because I don't do that, but I saw that and I thought, who cleans this out? It's got to be cleaned out sometime. The janitor, I guess the janitor's got the best job in the world. That made me laugh. A little history. This was 2020, March of 2020. This is QT station where I get gas. And that was the beginning of the pandemic. And you can see the price for a regular unleaded was $1.16. That was just a few years ago. It's a lot more than that now. So cocktail party. So if those of you here a little bit upward in age like I am, might remember your parents' cocktail party. And your parents would have some friends over, and they would always, of course, dress up. And they would drink martinis and smoke cigarettes and have a grand old time at their cocktail party. But what do you think they were talking about? Well, it's the same thing we talk about. But if you didn't know the person, you might meet somebody new and say, Jim and Dan, let's say. And Jim comes up and says, hey, Dan, what do you do? And Dan might say, well, I'm in the automobile business. I sell cars. Of course, he makes a lot of money if he sells cars because those guys do nothing but make money. And Dan might say to Jim, well, Jim, what do you do? Well, I'm in the title business. The tile business. You know, my wife's been wanting to redo the bathroom. And we need some tile. Can you help me? No, I'm not in the tile business. I'm in the title business. Well, what's that? Because, of course, nobody knows what we do, right? Well, you know, easements and liens and restrictions and all these things. We do an extensive search to find out who owns this, what the liens are on the property. Well, Dan's going to say, I'm going to get another martini. I don't want to hear about all that. Well, do your friends know what you do for a living? Does your family know what you do? Your neighbors? People you go to church with? Do they really know what you do? They may not care. But we don't do a very good job, I think, of really telling people and letting them know what we really do, what's involved in it, because they really don't want to hear it. The average person will buy or sell a house or a property, commercial maybe, about 7 times in their lifetime. So they're only going to see us about 7 times. So they're not thinking about it. It's like when you buy milk every week at the grocery store. So the main thing is talk to your friends and neighbors, people at church. Let them know what you do. You're a part of the community. And they may not even think about it. The worst feeling to me is when a friend of mine sells a house or buys a house and we don't get the transaction. And I'm like, we've known each other for 20, 30 years, and you went down the street to ABC Title? Oh, Jack, I didn't even think about it. The realtor said I should use this title company. Oh my gosh, I feel terrible about that. But I'll bring you the next one. But that's still a gut-wrenching thing, right? Because they don't think about us enough. So we got to talk about it more. So a few years ago, this is your plan. You see the goal. You see the goal at the end of the mountain. It's a climb. You got to run your business and you got to have a climb. But it's gettable, right? Well, enter 2023. This is reality. You've got mountains and lakes and gullies. You can still see the prize, but you got to get there because business is not what it was several years ago. But we're still running our businesses. We still have employees. We still have customers. Just a little bit, there's some fewer transactions to close. So we got to remember it's still there. The goal is still in front of us. ALTA. We are a trade association based in Washington, D.C. We're governed by an 11-member board of governors consisting of agents and underwriters. Mark Belbry is the president of ALTA. I am the current president from Fort Worth, Texas. What do? We provide advocacy, communication, education, and networking for our industries. We're about 6,000 member companies, and that encompasses about 120,000 people. If I think about all the people who work for those 6,000 companies, it's about 120,000, which is a lot. Our mission, as I said, we advocate education, networking, and promoting professional industry standards. Okay, I want to talk just for a second about best practices. So we introduced best practices to the industry about 10 years ago. And we haven't altered them since. And most of you, I'm hoping that you're doing best practices. You have a manual, you have something in your business. If you're not, you need to get it because lenders want to know. Lenders will ask for your best practices certification. So we just redid this at ALTA, and we're thinking, well, why do we need to redo it? Well, think about just the technology factor. What's happened with technology in the last 10 years? We had computers 10 years ago. Wire fraud was kind of there, but not the huge problem that it is today. So we really looked back at it and said, there's a lot we need to change and update with the best practices. Mostly, those of you who are doing it, Pillar 2, Pillar 3, and Pillar 4. Those are the three pillars we really dug in on. Procedures and controls of escrow processes, written information security plan. You have to have an information security plan written down. And you may think, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? I don't have an IT person. But you can work with IT people. You can work on the internet and get one. And settlement, real estate settlement policies and procedures. So some of those things have changed. It's on our website, alta.org. Lots of stuff here goes into effect in May. So please update your best practices. So we set, every summer our Board of Governors gets together in Washington. We set priorities for the next year. What are we focusing on? Just like you all have priorities in your business and you have goals, well, so do we for ALTA. And so this year our top priorities are optimize business in a changing market because it is changing, leverage modern payment systems, promote home ownership opportunities, and navigate the regulatory market. Now, we do a lot of things at ALTA more than just this, but these are our top priorities right now that we're working on, and we're going to talk about those. Priority number 1, optimize business in a changing market. How can we help you run your business more efficiently? Because it's all about efficiencies. Do we have too many employees? Are we spending too much money? How can we save money? How can we make our business more efficient? So at ALTA, we want to help you run your business more efficiently. Provide education and training on the changing market and help members attract talent. Right now it's about retention. We're not hiring that many people, most of us, but we want to retain the good ones. We may have, I've had a couple of layoffs in my company, and some low-hanging fruit had to go. But there's some really good people we want to retain, and competitors are always out there. At least in my market, they're trying to steal employees all the time. So we want to retain those good employees. I know this is hard to read. It's just see the graph, existing home sales You know what it is. Home sales are way down. The National Home Price Index, home prices are at a peak, and they've slipped down just a little bit. Not enough to make a lot of people want to go out and splurge for a new house. But we know where prices are. The workforce. Who's out there? Who are we hiring? We're hiring people. Millennials, right? We're hiring millennials because they will be, Generation Z, Generation X. Of course, here's many of us, baby boomers, we're kind of fading out of the market. People are retiring. We're getting older. And so we have to refurbish and replenish our companies with younger people. Now, some people say, Jack, is this your son? It certainly could be. I love this picture because you see this young millennial. He's got the pizza and the beer. And I love the lava lamp over here. I think I used to have one of those. But he's certainly not working. Now, maybe it's a Saturday. But this is kind of what a lot of us think about millennials. And it's unfair. It's really not fair because millennials can be really hard workers. We've all got them working in our companies. We're hiring more. And these are the people that will be running your business in not too many years. Millennials will be running your business. So we think of them this way, but we need them. We need those good hard workers in our business. And I'm sorry, a lot of you are millennials in the room, and I'm sorry, but we need you, and we're glad you're here. This is what we think about with younger people in our offices. They're kind of sitting around a beautiful, very casual office. This is not what my office looks like. Anybody have an office that looks like this? This is where they want to work. So if you think about what's in this picture, they're all young. They're no gray hair like I have. They're very casually dressed, working around a communal table, and collaboration is really what they're doing. You hear a lot about collaboration in business. This young lady is reading a magazine. She doesn't look like she's working too hard to me. She's thinking about working from home. The guy on the left is, I think, talking to his manager about, well, I want to take the next week off. I'm going to go hiking. I want to take care of my dog. And look at the words on the wall. Co-working, social, creative, flexible, motivation, collaboration. This is what young people are thinking about, and this is the kind of environment that they want. And my question is, can we furnish this? We're in a fight for talent, for younger talent, and what we have and what our offices are is not necessarily what they want. This is what they want. A beautiful home overlooking the mountains, big computer, and she's up there just kind of dreaming about what kind of wine am I going to go buy. Yeah, I'd love to work at home if my house looked like that too. Most of them don't. Here's reality. The dad's working from home. He's got a couple of kids. This one, of course, doesn't want to hear anything. And this one over here just, Daddy, play with me. Please just play with me. Honey, I'm working. I have to work and get this done. And the kids want to play, and I'm sure there's a dog somewhere underneath the table. That's reality. That's what working from home to me is like. I had COVID twice and had to work from home, and believe me, I hated it. I like my office. But there are a lot of people who really like working from home. So this is Laura's nephew. His name is Watt Stevens. And they have a new baby. So Watt works from home, and he's pretty creative because his wife also works out of the house. The baby needed some attention, and Watt's a golfer. So he gets a golf club, and he's rocking the baby with the golf club. I love that. I think that's pretty creative. Take care of the child and get some work done too. So you're hearing about welcome back, come back to the office. Please come back to the office. Don't work from home anymore. Some of that's working, but it's hard for bigger corporations to do that. So how many of you have workers, I'm going to say more than a few, working from home? Yeah, a good bit of you. That's good because that's what they, a lot of times that's what they want. And I don't like it, but I'm old. Younger people want to work from home a lot, or how much hybrid can you do? So that's what we're facing today. Trying to get people back in the office is not as easy as it used to be. Employee engagement, that's what they want. They want to sit around a table, they want to chat, they want to talk. Hey, as long as they're getting the work done, I don't care. But that's what we as managers have to think about, is how do we engage our employees. So ALTA has a ton of resources for you on HR, for online training, library. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big deal right now, and will be for a long time. We have a lot of information on that. Brand new committee for DEI. So that's all their videos, a lot of resources on our website. Strategic priority number 2, modern payment systems. We want to provide education and training to you for good funds laws, new digital funds transfer, payment systems, and currencies. People try to pay, they still try to pay with cryptocurrency now. And most of us are going to say, don't want any part of it. Underwriter's not going to like it. We don't want any part of it because how the value changes and all that. And of course, we've seen what happens in the last year, and we don't want any part of it. But that doesn't stop them from asking, can I pay in crypto? Wire fraud, obviously huge. It was my number one worry until this AOL stuff came up. But at any time, in my office, and my people right this very minute may be funding a transaction, and there's wire fraud, as you know, every single minute of the day. They're trying to steal your money, and they're trying to steal our customers' money. So that's a big, big deal to ALTA, because we know it's a big deal to you. So we are working. The problem is the criminals are smart. They're getting smarter every day. And every time we fix one thing, then something else breaks out. Right? So we have to stay ahead of the game. It's training, it's talking to your people all the time about wire fraud. Well, it's Friday afternoon, I was funding 6 transactions. I was just so busy, and this email came across, and I sent the money, and it's gone. It's just gone. You know how dangerous that is and how that works. So it's talking about it all the time. This is Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Ran for president a while back. He's still our senator. Ted's a pretty good guy, but thank you. She knows I like Diet Coke. Ted, so I was in Washington, D.C. several years ago at the Advocacy Summit, which is coming up. Hope you're going to go. We had a Texas meeting with Senator Cruz, and I was sitting right next to him. And they asked me to talk to him about wire fraud. So I said, Senator, they're always, what's your biggest issue? What do you want to talk about? Wire fraud. That's what I want to talk about. That's what concerns me more than anything else in the world. Well, how does that affect the title business? How does it affect the title business? This is what we do. This is what happens to us every single day. And I talked to him for a bit about wire fraud and how it affects me and how it affects you and why we're so concerned. And he looked at me and he said, Jack, I haven't heard of this before. I don't really know I believe you, but I don't really know what you're talking about. And I just wanted to choke, because this is a United States Senator who's been in office for 20 years. How could you not know about it? But, they have to cover a whole lot of things. And what happens in the Beltway of Washington, D.C. is not normal life. It's just not. But it surprised me. So it just let me know how much more work we have to do on the wire fraud issue to educate people.
As homeowners, we'll do whatever it takes to protect our homes. But did you know that there are burglars who can rob your home even before it's yours? It's called real estate wire transfer fraud, but homeowners may call it something else.
Wire transfer fraud is the biggest single detriment going on right now in real estate transactions.
Take your life savings that you have worked so hard for, and it's just gone.
How do these cyber criminals get away with it? They start by hacking into unsecure email servers and searching for upcoming real estate closings. They pose as legit financial institutions and email unsuspecting homebuyers. Then the crooks send out bogus wire transfer instructions and wait for the money to be wired. So who's protecting homeowners from wire transfer fraud? Real estate title professionals are on the offense.
We mitigate wire transfer fraud actually reaching out to our clients on day one.
We educate buyers and sellers throughout the entire process and talk about how to protect themselves.
On what to look for.
Getting the word out, it's informing your clients, it's informing the consumers, it's constantly retraining your employees, it's keeping it top of mind all the time.
Using advanced technology ensures that they are sending or we are receiving the wire from the right source.
We're doing our best to make sure wire transfer fraud doesn't happen to you.
So you can feel protected on the biggest financial purchase of your life. The American Land Title Association. Our title is protection.
So we have videos like this. That's the kind of educational stuff that we're producing at ALTA in Washington. I think that's really well done. It's available for you to use with your customers. Those realtors who still don't understand wire fraud, builders, etc., you know, it's important stuff. Payment options, there's new payment options coming down the road to prevent wire fraud. So we don't have to wire transfer funds. Real-time payments, you've heard about that. That is here. The question about real-time payments where it's transferred immediately. You can go into a close your transaction, and have the money in their account in 2 minutes versus 2 hours or 2 days. It's not quite ready because of good funds laws. I'm sure you have good funds laws and rules in Oklahoma, correct? We certainly do in Texas, and you've got to do it a certain way, but that's what's coming. Now, FedNow, they just announced it's going to be here, I think, by the summer. The Fed has been working on this for a long time because they understand the problems with wire fraud. So FedNow is another payment rail that's going to get there quickly. Now, I'm so excited because I'm thinking, okay, as of, let's say, August 1st, no more wire transfers in my company. Am I on? Can you hear me? Okay. No more wire transfers in my company. Well, not really, because FedNow will be here, but it's not all here yet. And it will take, I think it's several years for us to really get used to FedNow and other payment rails to get this working. So we're still going to be wire transferring money for a while, but it's better. It's going to be better so it can go instantly and hopefully not have criminals get involved. So we have lots of wire fraud resources at ALTA on the website. I'm not going to go through all these, but we have lots of resources. RON, remote online notarization. You've heard about this for several years. It's here. It really arrived big time during the pandemic because we didn't want people in our offices. They didn't want to come in our offices, so we did, not all of us. Some companies did a lot of RON transactions where you could do it all on the computer and do it wirelessly. Well, the problem was that the RON vendors weren't ready. They've been trying to sell this for 5 years, but they had the huge onslaught of companies that said, I want it, and I want it right now because of the pandemic. And they had to basically shut it off because they didn't have the resources to get everybody in. Now they're back open again, and I encourage you to do it. Problem right now is lender acceptance. Lenders aren't really doing RON deals. Some are, the great big ones. United Wholesale Mortgage is doing it. Rocket Mortgage is doing it, the great big guys. Your mom and pops and your medium size are really not. They'll get there. They're going to get there with RON because we can't continue to do paper closings forever. They're doing a lot of RON type stuff just in getting people ready for closing and all their documentation. So I encourage you to really look at it, talk to some vendors, and get there because this is your future. This is your future. You will not, I think in 10 years you will have so few person-to-person closings, people won't be coming into your offices. It's all going to be via computer. So get ready. We got some state laws. Oklahoma has passed wrong laws. We have about 8 states, California and some southeastern states that have not, some of the heavy attorney states have not passed wrong laws yet, but you have here in Oklahoma, so it is legal. It's all about customer satisfaction and customer experience. They don't want to come in your office. As pretty as your office is and as nice as your people are, millennials do not want to come in your office and sign a stack of papers. They want to do it at home on their iPhone. And that's what Ron can do for you. It's different for us. There's going to be a lot of training happen, but we've got to be where our customer is with customer experience. That's kind of the state map of digital closings. I told you the Southeast, California, and a few Northeast states are still yet to come. Priority number 3, promote homeownership opportunities. There's, let me go back. Discriminatory covenants. We've kind of talked about that some briefly this week. Redaction is an issue out there. It's a hard issue. Someone said yesterday, I think it was in the skit yesterday, you try to redact something, it tears the paper and it's on this onion paper, and what do you do? So redaction is a tough thing. I understand the purpose for it. Federal judges do not want their information filed of record. A lot of people don't. But we're in the title business. We're in the search business. We've got to find out what's there. Heirs property is really a big problem right now, especially with vacant land. Unfair service agreements. We talked about it yesterday with N-traps, where the commission, poor people sign something, and for 40 years they're obligated to that real estate company to list their property. That's not fair at all. I think those will be gone away in about a year because legislatures are fighting them. ALTA, Good Deeds Foundation. We started this foundation a couple of years ago. We have raised over $1 million. We've awarded over $500,000. And we're really trying to use this foundation to help people in local towns all across the country. Small donations, $2,000, $5,000 donation can go a long way for some of these charities. They need to start. They need to help some people. So that's really what we're doing with the Good Deeds Foundation. It's about telling our story, as I said, to your friends and neighbors about what we do. And I'm going to skip this video.
The American Land Title Association presents Our Title is Protection, a look at how title insurance protects your largest financial investment. Congratulations! After years of saving up, you're finally able to purchase your first home. But did you know that homeowners across the country face threats to their property rights? Here are a few examples and how title insurance can help. You finally found the perfect house, but the previous owner didn't pay for the new roof. Now the roofing company has filed a lien against your property. You check your title insurance policy and file a claim because of the lien. The title company fixes the problem, and you can relax knowing that your property is protected. You've got mail. Uh-oh, it's a late notice for a loan you don't have. Apparently, someone has stolen your identity and taken out a loan in your name. Now it's in default and you're facing foreclosure. Don't worry. With a homeowner's policy of title insurance, you shouldn't be responsible for a forged mortgage. Your title company will investigate and clean up the records if needed. Stories about title insurance usually feature the same ending: protecting your property rights, because that's what title insurance does. For over a century, title professionals have worked to ensure that when you buy a property, you have peace of mind that you're protected. Title insurance protects homeowners from liens and other nasty things. Wherever property is being sold in America, you'll find a reliable title professional protecting the property rights of homeowners. That's the promise of title insurance. Our title is protection.
That's the promise of title insurance. That's why we're all here. That's why we work in our companies every single day. That's what we got to sell to the public. Priority number 4, navigate the regulatory environment. Regulations, state regulations, national regulations. policymaker, like I talked about Senator Ted Cruz, they don't understand what we do. And it's not just the Congress, it's policymakers at HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all kinds of policymakers. They're truly not understanding this, and we kind of know why, because it's a challenging business. So we've got to continue to educate them, and at ALTA, that's what we're working hard on, is educating these people. Okay, let's talk about the big one. Fannie and Freddie, equitable housing finance plans, mission creep, and AOL. I just want to spend a little bit of time on because you know, hopefully you know how dangerous this is. A letter from a lawyer is no substitute for title insurance. Why ALTA fears title insurance alternatives could go too far. And let's not let history repeat itself with sloppy, affordable housing policy. AOL, attorney opinion letters. As I said, when my grandfather started our company, AOL was all it was. Attorneys would issue an opinion letter. And then he, in Texas, he helped start title insurance, and people did it in Oklahoma and other states, and title insurance got started. Now we're back to AOLs. And why are we back to AOLs? They can use artificial intelligence to do a title search. Didn't take people. Some of these computers can do a title search without people. Well, we're people. We're running a business. We have a lot of employees. That's how our business works. Sure, we're going to use artificial intelligence for some things, but that's where this is coming from. I told you title insurance is a product of past failed AOL attempts. So where we are now, with the Biden administration came down and said, we are going to push for affordable housing. We've got a lot of underserved, underprivileged people who cannot afford to buy a house. I get that, totally do. So the Biden administration told Fannie and Freddie, told the FHFA, who Fannie and Freddie answer up to FHFA, save them some money. Find a way to save the home buyer, disadvantaged home buyers, some money in the closing table. So they did all these searches and practices and said, aha, title insurance. That's how we're going to save the customer some money. We're going to cut title insurance out of the plan and save them a few $100s. Well, it just don't move so fast in doing that. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are chartered GSEs. They have a reason to be, and it's not to be in the title business or any other business. The reason they are in business is to make the financial markets solid and make loans across America solid. You don't find that in any other country in the world. That's why the American real estate transfers so easily, because of solidity and backing by the government. So they want to go beyond their charter of solidifying the financial plans. They want to get into title insurance and other things. So Freddie has allowed AOL for several years, not been successful. Nobody wants it, nobody likes it, it's not happening. But Fannie Mae has decided this is going to work. We're going to do this, and we're going to have new alternatives. Fannie has wanted to be in the title business for years, but their charter has not allowed it. So now they're trying again. So Fannie is getting ready to issue a pilot program in a few months to do away with title insurance. First it was AOLs, and they're going to allow attorney opinion letters in place of title policy. And the attorneys would issue a letter. Well, now they're doing what we're calling mission creep. They're creeping beyond their mission. They're going out into places where they're not supposed to be by their charters. They're self-insuring. That's what we need the government to do, self-insure. They should be insuring all title products, right? They don't need us. The borrower doesn't need to pay for our product. And that's what they're saying. We're saying this is mission creep beyond your charter. So I have some questions about AOL and Fannie Mae mission creep that I think are interesting. What's the lender reaction to this? Because I was in a meeting with Sandra Thompson, who's the director of FHFA in Washington. We were at a face-to-face meeting, And we asked her about lenders, and she said, the lender is liable, the lender is at risk. We're not going to be at risk, the lender's at risk. Okay, so I have a friend named David Motley, and we were at a cocktail party, and I was asking him about that, and he's a big lender in Fort Worth, big mortgage lender. I said, David, what are you doing? Are you going to take attorney opinion letters? He said, hell no, I'm not taking attorney opinion letters. I want a title policy from Radican Title or some other title company. I want to make sure. With David, they say it can save your customer several $100s. Hell no! We're not doing that. Okay, if they can save $200, that's fine, but my mortgage company is going to require a title policy. You're educated. I love you, David. Thank you. Not all mortgage lenders are like that. UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, is the largest lender in America. Rocket Mortgage, they think differently. They're thinking to save a couple of $100s for the customer. Regulation by the state departments of insurance. What are they going to say about this unregulated title product? Are they going to let that happen? And in Texas, I can tell you, I don't think so. I think they're going to say, no way. Licensing requirements, AOL attorney experience in real estate matters. So this person who's going to issue an attorney opinion letter, what do they know about real estate? It could be a divorce lawyer. It could be a personal injury lawyer who's trying to make a few extra bucks. What do they know about a real estate transaction which may have some dirt on it? It may have some problems. They may try to recruit you. They may try to recruit your title agents to help close deals, do courtesy closings. You can charge a fee. You can charge whatever you want to charge. But you've got to think about your title premium, and then you have the closing fees, your abstracting fees here in Oklahoma, versus just closing the deal for United Wholesale Mortgage and making a few $100. You've got to think about, is that what I want to do? And if you do that, you have to indemnify. You have to give the lender an entire indemnity to say you're liable for anything that goes wrong. I'm not doing that. But that's their requirement. How about curative? We all do curative every single day in our offices if we're closing deals. Who's going to do the curative? The title industry has done curative forever. No one's going to be there to do that. Reserves for future losses. What about an owner's policy? They only think about lenders' policies. They only think about the lender. Well, more than half of what we do is owner's policy. What about the home buyer? What's he going to get? Oh, they don't care about that. They'll figure out something. Simultaneous issue rates. Most of us give those. Are they considering that the price of title insurance when you do a simultaneous issue rate is much lower? We give them a huge credit. They don't really think about that. They'll put it in the formula. What about underwriting standards? I know we have underwriters in the room. We have great underwriting standards in the United States. Our many underwriters have done a really good job of this. Well, does that just go out the window? Because there will be no underwriters in these transactions because there's no title insurance. Claims. What do you do when there's a claim and you've got this AOL policy? It's not even a policy, but it's a wrapper. It's an insurance wrapper that will cover some things, but it's not going to cover what a title claim covers. What happens with that? Consumers, it's all about the consumer, of course, as it should be. How much can they really save? As my friend David Motley says, for a few $100, no, I want a title policy. Well, we've got to plug in how much money is at risk here and what can they save. Let's also think about these consumers. A lot of them are underprivileged. They're uneducated. They don't understand our business. These are the people that they're trying to help, and we want to help them too. We want everybody to be in a home. But they don't understand what they're getting into, and who's going to lead them down the road if there's no title company, no title agent, no title underwriter to help them? Who's going to help these people? And then we have the 2023 banking crisis. What happened a couple of weeks ago that is still, to this day, still a real problem in America with lots and lots of banks. What are they doing? So this is not the time to go out and venture into this field when the banks are in so much danger. Why is the federal government sticking out and trying to do that? So ALTA supports programs for affordable housing. We want our customers to have affordable housing, but we want it should be with a title product. Innovation shouldn't come at the cost of protecting property rights. What's ALTA doing about it? We're engaging with the GSEs, Fannie and Freddie. We're engaging with Congress and regulators. We're making a huge push, especially in Washington. We've hired lobby firms, lobbying, public relations, and media. We are not sitting back, and many of you get an email from Diane Tom, our CEO at ALTA, explaining what we're doing about it. We are not sitting on our butt. This is priorities 1, 2, and 3 for us. It's the biggest issue we're facing, and we're on top of it, and we're working it really, really hard. We're going to spend a lot of money on this in the lobbying effort, but we know how important it is to you, and so we are fighting it with everything we've got. Priorities 1, 2, and 3 for us. There's other regulatory concerns, FinCEN. I don't think we have FinCEN GSEs in Oklahoma. You better hope it stays that way, because we've got it in my county. We have to report every single cash transaction over $300,000 to the federal government. Well, that's just more paperwork and more crap that my people have to put up with. But it's going to come to you because they're expanding it across the country. And believe me, it is a ton of paperwork. They're trying to catch money launderers. I get that. That's important. But that's what FinCEN's about. Junk fees is out there. They think we have a bunch of junk fees because banks have a bunch of junk fees. And ALTA has been saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because what is a junk fee? You might want to define it before you start putting us all in that boat. Data privacy is a huge issue across the country. Let me just check my time here. Okay. Not that. Skip that. Oklahoma. Oklahoma is really important in Congress. You've got key leaders in the Senate and the House. Those are their members. These are the people that we're working with at ALTA. If you're local, they're national and Senate and House, but they come from your communities. And when you are home, when they're home for the summer, if you can have an opportunity to talk to a member of Congress, it's huge. Have them for lunch in your office. Give them a tour of your title plant. Let them know what you do every day, because believe me, those people in Washington do not know. They don't know how hard you work every day. So the Oklahoma staff and people in Congress are really important to us. Political engagement. 2 Oklahoma ALTA members are congressional liaisons. We have 69 TAN members, Title Action Network. 8 members donated $5,700 to TIPAC in 22, and TIPAC contributed out to the Oklahoma delegation $6,000. Your PACs are really important. I know you have a PAC in Oklahoma. It's really important that you participate in that. Last night, they raised a really good bit of money, and the auction was a lot of fun. It's really important to participate in that. Also think about participating in your national PAC, ALTA PAC, because we're doing this. What you're doing on a local level in Oklahoma, we're doing on a national level in Washington. Okay, let's have a little fun for a second as we end up. New technology. I told you how great technology is, and you understand how great technology is and how much you need it. Sometimes it's a gimmick. Have you been to a McDonald's lately? You're not going to admit that, I know, but I know you go eat their French fries. If you've been to McDonald's lately, that's what you see in a lot of stores. It's a kiosk. You can't find a person to take your order, so help you. You have to go up to a kiosk. Now, it's not just McDonald's, it's a lot of places. So you go in there and, okay, I want a Big Mac, fries, and a Diet Coke. Okay, look at the screen, find your Big Mac. But I don't like tomatoes, so I don't want tomatoes on it. So now you have to find out how to delete tomatoes from your Big Mac, your Whopper, or whatever you're ordering. But I want extra pickles on it. How do you do that? Then it's going to give you a choice of fries. Well, I want a large fries because McDonald's makes the best fries. Don't tell my wife I ordered the large fries. And I want a large Diet Coke. So you have to choose your, anyway, you've now spent 5 minutes choosing your McDonald's thing, like when you used to be able to go up and tell them you wanted number 3, and that'll be, $8.65. Now you got to do this. Now how are you going to pay for it? Okay, get the wallet out. American Express, you put it in the slot. They don't take American Express. So now take that card out, find a MasterCard, do that. Okay, then I'd really like to have a receipt. Well, you're going to have to go up to the front to get a receipt because the machine's out of paper. So then you go up and you wait for your meal and all that stuff. There's nobody at the front counter to help you. There's not a soul. They're back in the kitchen cooking or warming or whatever they do back there. It's a hassle. This is technology, but to me, just give me a person to order from, and I could have been out of here 10 minutes ago. They don't ask me. This is a robot in Destin, Florida. We have gone on vacation down there for many years. And they have a robot, and this is just a burger place. And you go in and you take your iPhone and you do the QR code, of course, to get your menu. We're all used to that after pandemic. And then you put in what you want. Then you got to get your credit card out again. Put your credit card in. They don't take American Express. So you better get your MasterCard or Visa out. Then magically, a few minutes later, this robot appears. And on the back side of it, it's kind of hard to see, but these black things are shelves, and your food comes out on the shelf. And the robot comes up to your table, and of course, there's not a person to help you grab it, but you grab the food off the shelf. Then you enjoy your lunch. Yeah, but I like some ketchup with my French fries. Call the robot again to bring you ketchup or salt and pepper or whatever you want. Well, this was a regular Coke, and I wanted a Diet Coke. So call the robot over again to get the Diet Coke. Now I want more Diet Coke. Call them over. I mean, come on, people. And there's like one person working in the store. So that's technology to me. It's a gimmick. My kids loved it, but I didn't like it so much. How many of you have done this, the parking thing? You just want to put 50 cents in a parking meter and leave your car. Well, these are people like my age. They're old. You know that confusion on your face when you go up there and you can't read the screen, it's too dark and scratched up? How much do I put in? How do I get my receipt? Where do I put my receipt? Credit card, it's a real hassle. I understand the reason for them, but there's a large part of America that really does not get that.
It's easier just to pay a parking ticket.
And pay the parking ticket.
That's exactly what I do. I just pay the ticket.
Yeah, but how do you pay the ticket? Do you write a check? Because how many of you have checkbook account, have checks anymore? My kids don't have checks, so how would they pay a parking ticket? I mean, they can go online. Okay, this is my favorite. This is in Beaver Creek, Colorado, and Laura and I were at an ALTA large agents meeting there a few years ago. And we were enjoying wine with some of our friends, and somebody came out and said, "Oh my gosh, have you been to the bathroom?" I'm like, "No, I don't need to go to the bathroom." "Yeah, Jack, you need to go to the bathroom. You need to go right now." Now, I really don't have to go, but I will in a little bit. And no, go now, you have to see the bathroom. Okay, so I went, saw the bathroom. This is what I saw. Now, what in the world is this? Obviously, it's a toilet, and there's a sink behind it. Now, this is Beaver Creek, Colorado, and they are conservatives up there, and they want to conserve water. Totally get it. Save water. So the theory is you wash your hands, and what's left of the water goes into the toilet tank. And that's the water that fills the toilet with water. So we're conserving a lot of water. Okay. Now, how do you use this contraption? So I used it. I'll talk loudly. So I'm a man, and I stood up and did my business. There's no urinal in this bathroom, just this. So I did my business. Now I want to wash my hands. I can't reach it. Okay. Straddle the toilet, wash my hands. Where's a paper towel? Well, there's no paper towels in Colorado. You have to use one of those blower contraptions that's on the wall over there. So you de-straddle with your wet hands and you go over here. Oh my gosh. So I told Laura, I said, you've got to go use the bathroom. She said, I don't need to use the bathroom. Oh, yes, you do. She said to some of the other people, hey, y'all come to the bathroom with me. And of course, you ladies always go to the bathroom in groups. So they did. Of course, they were horrified. Well, you know, okay, how does a woman do this if you're wearing a skirt, maybe, or a dress? So you may sit down and do your business. Now you want to wash your hands, and now you got a skirt, and you got to do this again with your skirt on. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Or what if you had pantyhose on?
Yeah. Well, I don't think about pantyhose, but now that you mention it, I can imagine. So technology, you know, it's good and it's bad. Okay, I'll end up. We do have an advocacy summit in Washington coming up in May. I will tell you that this is some of our members' very favorite meeting. You can go talk to your congressperson. What I've always thought is really, really cool about DC, about being an American, is you can go, not during the pandemic, but you can now and you could before. You can go walk the halls of Congress. You walk through a metal detector to get in to any Senate office building or House office building or the U.S. Capitol. If you want to go to the White House, it takes more than that. But you can go through a metal detector and you can go and see your senator or your representative. Just walk the halls. There's Senator Ted Cruz's office. I'm going to go talk to him again about wire fraud because he doesn't understand. What we do at Advocacy Summit is we divide you into groups, let's say. And like the Oklahoma group would go together. You would go see some of your representatives, and what are we going to talk about? ALTA educates you on this. This is a list of issues that you want to talk to your congressperson about. So it's a big fly-in for members from all over the country. We're all going on the same day to different offices, and it's really fun. You get to talk to your congressman or congresswoman or their staff. They're not always there, and talk about what's important to you. This year, of course, AOL and mission creep is going to be a big topic of conversation. But nowhere in the world do you have access to your congresspeople like we do in America. And it's a really cool thing. So if you can go, please sign up on our website and go to that. I've already talked to you, a lot of you are going. ALTA 1 is our national convention. It's in October. This year it's at the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs. If you've been there, you know how magnificent it is. If you haven't, you've missed something. You need to go. It is a fantastic hotel. It's my going out convention, and I'm so glad that it's going to be at the Broadmoor because Laura and I have been there many times, and we absolutely love it, and you will too. So what are we going to do on Monday morning? Our church pastor likes to talk about a Monday morning checklist of things we want to do in the church. But here in business, tell our story. Talk about what you do to your friends and neighbors. Let them know who you are. Optimize your business, changing business environment, as we know. Learn about modern payment system, what's coming down the pipe for you in FedNow coming up soon. Attract, develop, and retain talent. Those employees that you have that are in your offices right now, today, are so important to you, you want to retain them. Promote home ownership opportunities, learn about the regulatory environment, what's coming up with AOL and mission creep. You'll be hearing a ton about that because it's priorities 1, 2, and 3. And if you're in the Fort Worth area, come see me, give me a call. I'd love to buy you a Lone Star beer. We'll talk about Longhorn football. and maybe some sooner in Oklahoma State football too. But I would love to see any of you. We'll talk about business or football or whatever you want to talk about. All right, I'll take a few questions. I don't know how long we are timing-wise. I've got a minute left or maybe two. Any questions? Anybody? Okay, well, I'll be here tonight at the banquet. Again, you all are such nice, friendly people. We love being with you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.